It's Monday, June 22nd, and this is now on H&N.
For now, we're good.
We're monitoring COVID-19 clusters on Oahu and Kauai. Today, we're speaking with Lieutenant Governor Josh Green about the latest developments.
That just shows you how fast spread can happen.
Concern grows as COVID cases rise in many states. I'm Tom Hansen with that, and how New York City is taking more steps reopening.
It's been 3 long months.
Some strange discoveries to talk about. Multiple shipping containers were spotted floating in waters off Hilo, and a dead snake was found in a Maui restaurant's parking lot.
I went to the fish market. I went to chop sugarcane.
These stories, plus we're chatting with a top chef star about a new cooking show with ties to Hawaii, coming up on This Is Now. Good afternoon. Thank you for watching This Is Now. I'm your director, Jonathan, alongside Ashley here.
That's right. We want to start with the latest numbers from the state health department. Health officials are reporting 4 new COVID-19 cases today. All patients on Oahu. We're told 1 case is from the Halenani nursing home, where there are now a total of 15 cases. This comes after several days of double-digit numbers with clusters on Oahu and Kauai. We spoke to Lieutenant Governor Josh Green about the latest developments. Here's what he had to say.
So we expected a little hump that occurred after lots of opening in our Kama'aina economy. There were some large gatherings, and as you know, we had peaceful protests, so there were a lot of people out. If it was persistently 30, 30, 30, 38, 32, 33, then it's too hard for the Department of Health to trace everyone, and we worry that it gets out of control. For now, we're good.
The lieutenant governor also said he believes Governor Ige will announce his plans to reopen trans-Pacific travel very soon.
I can just share that the governor is working very, very hard to make it right. He's tasked me and my extended team to make sure that we make things as safe as humanly possible when he makes that decision, and I think it's pretty darn soon, so don't get too far away from your television sets.
Over the weekend, the U.S. reported its highest increase of coronavirus cases since May 1st. Tom Hansen has the latest developments from across the mainland.
Indoor dining is now back in the nation's capital.
Excited to be open for business. It's been 3 long months, but we have to do it safely.
It's part of Washington, D.C.'s multi-step plan to reopen. Restaurants are allowed to operate at 50% capacity, and nail salons, libraries, and gyms are open with some restrictions. New York City also took big steps today to get back on track, with up to 300,000 people returning to work.
A historic day as the nation's largest city, the nation's largest economy gets back on its feet.
Outdoor dining is allowed, barbershops are open, and so are many stores for the first time in months.
And some good news for smaller New Yorkers. The city's playgrounds reopened today with new social distancing rules in place, but team sports are still not allowed in public parks.
Florida remains open for business despite a steady rise of COVID-19 infections. Officials there say the average age for newly diagnosed cases is dropping.
It's probably because a lot of the young people are tired of staying inside and everybody wants to get out and live their lives, as do I. I want to get out and live my life too.
Governor Ron DeSantis says there are no plans to slow Florida's reopening or begin a mandatory mask order, but some cities like Tampa and Orlando are implementing mask orders of their own. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
Lawmakers returned to the state capitol today for a 3-week legislative session. This despite a House staffer testing positive for coronavirus last week. During the session, they plan to discuss fallout from the pandemic and the state budget. They may also discuss police discipline and whether public worker raises should be blocked or suspended. Here's House Majority Leader Della Al-Baladi about lawmakers' priorities.
For a lot of us, I think, Hawaii, the world is going to see this and be in this kind of situation for maybe a year, 2 years until we get a vaccination. So we really have to be thinking thoughtfully of what's going to happen and move through each of these phases differently. The economists out there are saying there could be a V recovery where we bounce right back, or it could be a longer drawn out recovery. those are the things that we have to watch.
We'll have more on the legislature's return coming up on our evening newscast starting at 5 p.m. Several shipping containers are bobbing in the ocean off Hilo this morning. A viewer sent us this video. They counted 9 shipping containers. The Coast Guard says young brothers lost them overboard and they're investigating how it happened. They're alerting boaters to the possible hazard in the water. The Coast Guard is also working to figure out what was inside the containers.
Maui police discovered a dead corn snake outside a Kahului restaurant on Friday. Officers estimated it to be at least 2 feet long. MPD says the Department of Agriculture removed the snake. The species can grow up to 6 feet. It's not known how it arrived on the island. Well, from Spam to corned beef, sales of canned meat are actually booming during this pandemic. Lacey Denise has much more on that.
Bloomberg reports that sales surged 70% in the U.S. in the past few months. South Korea and the U.K. are also seeing an increase in demand. Hormel's senior brand manager for Spam says the last time they saw a similar pattern in interest was back when the brand started during the Great Depression. Sales of tulip pork luncheon meat are growing at locations around the world, including Germany, Greece, Japan, and Singapore. And sales of corned beef are expected to nearly double this year compared to last. That's according to the CEO of Marfrig Global Foods, which supplies corned beef to the U.S. Many began stocking up on canned meats when the strict lockdown measures went into effect. But demand continues to remain high after outbreaks in meat plants led to shortages. Analysts also believe more people are turning to canned items to save on groceries.
All right, Lacey, thanks for that. In honor of that story, we wanted to have a little fun here. Let's share 3 Spam facts that you might not have known about.
That's right. So most people still don't know what the word Spam stands for. Some theories include a mashup of the words spiced ham or shoulders of pork and ham.
Okay.
Others joked and thought Spam could stand for something posing as meat or specifically processed artificial meat. We will probably never find out, though, because the real answers are with a few past executives from Hormel. They're the ones who actually know, but sounds like they're being quiet about it.
Yeah, all right. Number 2, Spam fact you may not have known about. Nearly 100 million pounds of Spam were consumed by Allied forces during World War II. It was really popular with the troops because it's functional and doesn't need refrigeration. I don't know about the whole no refrigeration part. That always sort of gets to me, but hey, it served a purpose and desperate times call for desperate measures. But it is tasty.
Yep, and there's an official Spam museum in Minnesota. It's located in Austin, Minnesota, and the specialists who lead the tours there are called Spam ambassadors, and they can recite the entire Hormel history by memory. Now, the museum also features an exhibit where you can pack and seal a can of Spam yourself, and they also have rooms for live cooking demos.
Are you a Spam person?
Of course I am.
Yeah, I like it. I love it in fried rice.
My mom makes the best Spam musubis.
All right, guys, speaking of food you can have on your lunch break, we have a celebrity guest now. We got Padma Lakshmi. She's got a brand new show called Taste the Nation. It's on Hulu. I actually got to talk with her, and it has a tie to Here at Home. Let's check it out. Padma, we're used to seeing you on the Top Chef stage on your new show, Taste the Nation, on Hulu. What are we going to see new out of you? I saw on some of the clips, we're seeing a lot of personality, even some family involved, right?
Yeah, I mean, Taste the Nation is really about how this country's immigrants have shaped the food we eat. And it seeks to look at, you know, what is American, who gets to say they're American, and what exactly is American food. Because to me, American food evolves and changes and is shaped into that change by immigrants who have come here over generations. And I wanted to look at that. And one of the cities that we come to, obviously, is Honolulu, to look at the Japanese influence.
And what are some of the things you discovered here? I know you even featured some spearfishing alongside some of those Japanese cuisines, right?
That was a really fun day. I am so afraid of the ocean. I'm a city girl. And it was so fun to go and see them do what they do. They're so talented, you know. But everybody I met in Honolulu was so informative. You know, I went to Senia and I learned how to make some of those dishes. It's a beautiful restaurant. If you haven't been to Senia, please go in Honolulu.
So good.
We went and had poke as well. I went to the fish market. I went to chop sugarcane to know what that was like. I grew up with sugarcane because I'm from India, but I'd never actually chopped it down, and it is hard. I mean, I didn't do it for more than 20 or 30 minutes, and I had all these little mini cuts on my forearms, and that stung for so long. I had to put Benadryl and sit under the air conditioner for a whole night. But I learned so much doing this show, and the food is really just an excuse to get to know the people who, in my opinion, actually make America great.
Yeah, that sugarcane plantation history here also important to our island culture. Yeah. I know Top Chef has had a lot of connections with Aloha State. Were you able to connect to any of the other alums that are featured from Top Chef?
I didn't have a chance to visit Sheldon. I didn't have a chance to meet Leanne, although, you know, I have recently spent a lot of time with Leanne, of course, on Top Chef. I did eat at her cafe, which was delicious. We
Cocoa Head
managed
Cafe,
to just
so good.
Squeeze in there for brunch.
Yeah, it's hard to get in. It can be really hard to get in. You know, that brings us to a lot of our restaurants are opening back up here. And one thing I like to see from the clips I've seen of your show so far is that it brings back that concept of traveling for me and going to those places, people getting to see those places and explore from their living room a little bit in this world that we're all so confined right now.
Well, you know, obviously I could have had no window into the environment in which I was going to release the show. I mean, no one could have predicted the things that have happened in the last few months. But I hope that the show does provide a little comfort for people and allow them to travel vicariously through the show. I mean, there were so many things I learned, you know, Mark, the Gooch, as he's known, Noguchi, like, hello, Mark. Thank you for teaching me about poke and how to do all those beautiful recipes. I actually tried to make poke the other night for my family with some tuna, and I called him, and he was great, and he walked me through it. So, you know, along the way, I really had a beautiful experience and got to meet so many interesting people. Everyone has a really compelling story if you're just willing to listen. And I made friendships that I really, really value now, and I learned from every episode.
And on a lighter note, sheltering in place, there's no better thing to do than binge watch something. Your show's available on Hulu now. We can have several, I think there's almost 10 episodes, so that'll keep us busy for a while. All right, Padma, thank you so much for joining us. I did notice on some of the other morning show interviews that you did sort of send some delivery to them. I think GMA. I'm sitting here empty-handed and hungry, so.
I'm so sorry. I know, because I don't know where to order from at 6 in the morning in Honolulu, but, you know, maybe somebody can hook you up there. You have done your homework, sir, and I very much appreciate it.
You know what? Next time you're in town, I'll take you out to eat.
Sounds great. I'll take you up on it. Have a great day.
You heard it there. You'll always be my foodie friend, okay?
Okay.
But
number one, she can be two.
I have a friend date with Padma.
Where would you take her?
Oh, I don't know. Zippies? Maybe
That's
Zippies?
a good start, actually.
Yeah, of course. She's got experience. Guys, we gotta get you outside right now. The time is 12:13. The temperature is 83 degrees. Guess who's here? Guy Hoggy with a check of your weather.
How's it on this Monday? I'm Guy Hoggy with your HawaiiNewsNow.com forecast. Gorgeous trade wind weather ahead. A little cloudy to start this Monday morning with these high clouds, but the high clouds do not bring us any rain. However, there are a few minor splashes for a handful of windward spots. Most of the rain is of the light variety. Trade winds will be stepping up today. A little windier in Maui County than everywhere else, but they'll be running at steady speeds through Wednesday, picking up speed on Thursday. So for today's steady trades, a few windward and Mauka showers, basically textbook trade wind weather conditions. Although we do have those high clouds this morning, they should start clearing out by midday. Now, as far as the surf, the swell that bumped up yesterday is on the way down for south and west shores. More surf is on the way for south and west shores later this week. We could see advisory level swells this weekend. So we're in for a nice long stretch of trade wind weather. The winds will run steady all the way through Wednesday. Then sometime in Wednesday afternoon, the winds will begin picking up. Now, as far as rain, nothing significant, just a few minor splashes for windward areas. A few more showers are due in on Thursday. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
All right, folks, this is the time of the show where we always check out what's going on the internet from the feeds. You know what's on the feed always is This Is Now.
That's right.
And now we're coming to you on TV. And this is our KHNL debut today. Thank you, bosses, for the lay, along with Mahealani Richardson. Really appreciate them. And we're so glad that we get to reach out to a whole new audience.
That's
it's
right.
not just digital anymore, folks.
But thank you to our loyal digital viewers who've been watching us for the past several months. But now you can get us on TV if you're not near your laptop or your devices.
All right, let's get to what's actually happening on socials. Okay, this is something I posted. So this weekend was the summer solstice, you know? And did you know something very special happens? Look, I'm missing my shadow.
Like Peter Pan.
I know. Here in the tropics, at around noon on the summer solstice, you'll be missing your shadow if the sun's directly overhead. Now check this out. I'm going to lose this graphic. Do you know that's downtown? That's that sculpture. It's those squiggly things. Any other time of the year, except for Lahaina noon days, this squiggly sculpture actually makes squiggly lines on the ground with its shadow.
Right.
But since the sun is directly overhead, it's a perfect circle.
Oh, I see it.
That's really cool, right?
That's really, I've seen that statue so many times downtown and I've never really known what it does. That's really cool.
And that's your Jonathan Nerd Alert of the day. But it was really fun. Great bike ride, too.
That's
What you up
awesome.
to this weekend?
Yeah, so I spent most of last week home on Kauai, and it was my first time visiting Haena State Park since they reopened after those historic floods back in 2018. There's now this beautiful boardwalk that takes you to Ke'e Beach and the Kalalau Trailhead, and I can't remember ever seeing the beach so empty and the water was so clear. Now, the park used to see as many as 3,000 visitors a day, but the area is getting some much-needed rest with the emergency orders in place and, of course, the quarantine.
All right, so a blast from our past is making a big comeback, right?
That's right. Remember Tamagotchis? Well, the virtual pet is making a comeback in the U.S. in July. Now, the toy will be updated with more modern technology, better graphics in color, and on a device you can connect to a mobile app. Now, the new generation Tamagotchis will cost you $60. Back in 1997, the originals went for about $17.99, and I did some math with inflation. That would have cost about $28 in 2019 inflation. So you can pre-order them online starting Thursday on Amazon, Target, Walmart, and GameStop.
I worry about the health of mine still today as I did back then.
Mine never stayed alive. Just like plants, I kill everything.
Yeah, it takes a lot of attention to keep those going. All right, one more thing from the feeds. Guys, if you're interested in the new streaming service, HBO Max, they're offering something really cool today only. That is, you can see 3 free episodes of Doom Patrol.
Cool.
I actually had a chance to speak with some of the stars this morning, Diane Guerrero and Jivon Wade. Here's a bit of that interview. Let me play it out for you. They were really nice to talk to me bright and early.
What you're missing out on if you haven't caught up is essentially watching the best superhero show that has been made. It's so wacky, it's so wonderful, and I couldn't do the disservice of not giving the show the credit it deserves, because the team behind it is so phenomenal. You know, from our writers' room, the Room Patrol, to our crew, to our beloved family and cast who bring it to life. And so you are missing out on a show in which is, probably, one of, if not the only superhero show in which is not, centered or all about the superheroes, and you can connect with these characters because it's all about the character and the people and what they're going through, the trauma, the PTSD that Vic goes through, the LGBT communities, and the acceptance we deal with for Larry, and all these different elements in which you just don't usually get in superhero shows. And so you have to catch up on it. What are you waiting for?
How has the pandemic impacted the production and promotion of this show?
Well, it's impacted quite a bit. I mean, we were fortunate enough to have enough of what we needed to bring about a wonderful second season. But, we are still in very unsettling, uncertain times. And so, and as you see now, we are here through Zoom kind of experiencing our day to day. So it has been certainly different. But I know that we can all at least share the commonality of our own human experience, and that we're all in this together, and hopefully we'll come out on the other side better for it.
Both DC and Marvel films and productions have both been criticized for their lack of diversity. Sort of seems like we've come a long way with the release of films like The Black Panther, but do you feel there has been enough done to promote diversity in these films?
No, I don't think enough has been done. We're a long way off, but I do believe we'll get there. I think that the issue is not just representation in front of the camera, but is also behind camera. And I think until we are completely representative of our community and what we see in everyday life behind camera, creating these stories, in positions of power, producers, directors, these storytellers in which, have the opportunity to create story for then our, beloved actors to be on screen and show that physical representation. But it starts with behind the camera, and until it is shaken up in that regard, where we have more producers, more execs, more people that actually control the narrative and what stories are being created, commissioners, etc. Until that happens, we're not going to get there.
All right, season 2, Dune Patrol, premieres this week. Again, you can see 3 free episodes of the first season right now on HBO Max. Really nice, guys.
Yeah, and I mean, they're right. You need diversity in especially superhero movies, right? People saving the world. Children need to see, different ethnicities of people doing that.
I know, and we're seeing there's actually a Marvel Asian-influenced superhero coming out it's in production right now. So we'll see what happens next. All right, guys, time for my favorite part of the show. Good news now.
That's right. So Punahou graduate and pro golfer Michelle Wee West welcomed her first child into the world over the weekend, a beautiful baby girl. She and her husband Johnny West named her McKenna Kamale Yuna West. We posted a photo of her and baby McKenna on her Instagram account saying, quote, "I have waited my entire life to meet you." Congratulations to the new parents.
And we have seen her growing up.
Oh, yes.
I mean, since she was a teenager on the course. And now it's coming full circle. We'll see if that'd be the next LPGA player right there.
So great. Yeah, and check this out. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson will be hosting a global concert that calls on world leaders to make coronavirus testing and treatments available for everyone. Now, the concert, put on by Global Citizen, will air this Saturday. Organizers say the show is not a fundraiser, but a way to shine light on how the pandemic has a greater impact on marginalized communities. Now, performers include Shakira, Justin Bieber, and Coldplay. It will also feature appearances from stars like Chris Rock and David Beckham.
Very cool. And up next we have another blast from the past, right?
That's right. So American rock band The Grateful Dead is releasing a line of vegan deodorant.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. So with the band's iconic Thunderbolt on the packaging, the deodorant comes in 5 different scents, including this one. It's called Skull and Roses and Sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's some good naming there.
It is.
I do like the packaging. It reminds me of the little bears.
Yeah. And the band says the products are 100% natural and vegan and made with edible ingredients that you can actually eat it.
Ooh, I don't know about eating my deodorant there.
No,
okay.
I think once you use it, maybe you should just skip the eating part.
Yeah, sorry folks in your lunch break if you're wanting to snack on some deodorant. I don't know. Guys, that was it for our debut KHNL. This is now. We're so glad you guys checked us out. We're still going to be here digitally as well. Wanted to leave you with a little snippet of our virtually live concert series. You can check them out on our digital platforms. Have a good day. We'll be back tomorrow.
Bye.